Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another day of D-Ray's house. Let's talk about some stuff. So, another week done, another fucking video to make, another goddamn thing to talk about that I don't know what the fuck to talk about. But we shall bumble our way through this conversation until eventually we find some sort of resolution. I've been doing a lot of this work shit, you know, going to work and doing all that gay ass shit. And it's been not rewarding, I'll tell you that. I don't even know what a reward is at this point, based on society. You know, I have been watching Charles Manson videos. Very interesting how the older I get, the more I'm like, man, he really is the mirror. The mirror that people pretend like, no, no. You know, as in, I should say, the mirror of society. A lot of people cast their shit on something, like a sacrificial goat, a lamb, whatever the fucking religion says. Well, a lot of times those kind of people truly are this mirror. You know, I believe he said that actually in one of his little rants. He's saying, like, you know, I am what you put in here, in a sense. And that's true. You know, I think he was very on to that. I'm not, because he's a human being, I'm not saying he's like, oh, he was innocent. My thing is, he was right about a lot of things. But I always looked at him and kind of thought, like, there's always a mesmeration of it, but not in the same sense that people would, like, try to box you in. They always try to make you, oh, you must be like this and that, you know. Fucking stupid people shit. So I just kind of been watching that, and I thought it was very interesting how indeed he is a mirror of society. And how I find myself seeing these same things over the years of just how fucking stupid people are and how they play games. And I think out of that era, so like, and when he got, what, convicted, it was, I don't know, was it 69 to 71, somewhere in there? You have all those fucking hippies, and you have the people that are the culture of the hippieism, fucking free love, all that shit, and then you have that counterculture, whatever they would have called it back then. I don't know. Conservatives? I don't know. But you can see people build some sort of idea inside this concept that is the United States and politics and culture and all this shit. People build stuff in there. You know, the egregore of America is this vessel, and then we can place in it what our culture is inside of this vessel. And people really, 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 like, get their fucking fixation on that. Like, to them, it's a huge deal of, like, how they view the world around them in this beautiful, safe little container called the United States. And it's this great thing, you know? And this guy comes along who gets shined a light on, because these people exist. Guys like him exist all the fucking time. I feel like I meet a lot of them. They get the light shined on them, and then people get to start to see, like, something that they don't like. And it's always something inside themselves. They're like, oh, or inside their culture, or inside their idea concepts. And the minute they get that, they're like, oh, we want equality. We want good, peace, and love, and like, okay, that's great. But guess what you're casting out? That's what you're fucking casting out in your little imaginary world. So people like him shine. And I think when I watch people like him, they call them charismatic people. I think that's a downplay. I think, because you know how people are. When they have a threat, they try to downplay that threat and like, oh, you know, crazy, charismatic, sociopath, you know, whatever the term that they love in that moment. And that's kind of how people generally work. That's pure and simple. I wish they would see that, but they can't. They're always going to be like, So I think looking at someone like him, like in my perspective, in, I don't know when I started, but like, I don't know, 2016 or something like that, when I started kind of like, relevant kind of thought, like, oh, Charles Manson existed, and here's the things that he did, and here's all the interviews of the guy. When I started like digesting that stuff, I was like, oh wow, I could kind of see what he was on about. And I could see either the interviewer or the parole hearings or whatever, this kind of like, as I get older, those are the ones that I'm like, oh wow, that's fucking creepy. Like the Tom Snyder shit, you know, they're getting off on this, you know, smoking a cigarette, safe behind their cultural wall, you know. That's the kind of stuff that I've been noticing as I get older. When I see society and I see people, I see this willingness and acceptance to believe in the concept, which in this conversation would be the United States, America, the fucking culture that it is, and the egregore that has grown to be. People want to really like put all their shit inside there. It's a safe vessel. It's a concept. The concept's obviously built around civilization. It's built around safety, security, freedom. You know, all this kind of made up stuff so we can have it. And the belief system in it, it's hard to have an idea that there may be something fucked up about it. So like like in the past, when the conspiracy stuff started really happening, so JFK probably, I mean it probably was going before that, but that was the one that I can think of top of my head. When that stuff started to creep inside of it and people were like, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it was? And so they start to kind of, I don't like that. I don't want my walls. That's just conspiracy theories. That's just stupid. That's bullshit. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. You know, JFK, 9/11, you know, shit like that. I have no clue. Wouldn't shock me if it was all staged or inside job, they say. But it also wouldn't shock me if it wasn't. That's where I'm at. I'm like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But like, that's kind of where our society really is on all this stuff. We bite and we take, and we want to stay a part of it. And the minute we're shined a light, again, like Charles Manson, for instance, we're shined a light on it. We're like, we want to make that thing that shines on our beautiful concept the bad thing. This doesn't fit inside of what I have here. That clearly is the bad thing, because it's doing everything that's against all the little rules and shit we made up here. So that clearly means it's bad. And that's how people want to think of it, to keep themselves afloat inside of this vessel that they've made up, this egregore of a country. And this is just lower people shit. I don't know what goes on behind fucking closed doors of, you know, the government and all the shit they're really up to, and corporate America. I don't fucking know, man. That's that weird people shit that masturbate on their money, you know? They're just weirdos. I think in all that stuff, it is, for me, it is very understandable why people would build shit like that. I mean, it makes sense. Why would you do that? It makes you feel better, and you don't know no better to look into anything. You just kind of accept shit at face value. Whether that be the conspiracy or whether that be the truth, if you want to say. And that's just generally how people fucking work, man. Not a lot of deep thinkers. A lot of people that say they are but aren't. And in all of that, that's why I find it fascinating to look at someone like him and just kind of listen to the shit he has to say. Because when a man, there's a double-edged sword to this. When a guy says stuff that you've already agreed to in your mind, and you never even knew he existed, it brings something out of you. You're like, oh wow, he thinks that too. Kinship, in a sense. The negative side of that is that can be used against younger people of weaker minds, and that's where that charismatic shit comes along. They see something like that, and they're like, we can't be having that shit. It's going to pop the bubble. We got to get rid of that, right? From small to low, or sorry, from low to high. So like, from your fucking dude living down the street from this motherfucker all the way up to the person that's inside the political sphere. Like, people don't like that. It's casting too much of a light on the truth that is what this country, you want to say, really is. And so that's kind of why he's dangerous, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to think, like, no one gives a fuck about some little guy. But the minute a woman dies that's inside of this made-up little sphere called Hollywood, and subsequently the other folks, that's when shit gets a little bit complex. You know, he went to the wrong place. And that just goes to show you what's really going on there, man. Like, when you think about Hollywood having the power. I mean, that's the propaganda machine, dude. Like, I mean, if you learn about some of the weird shit those fuckers get up to, the Tates and the what's Polanski? Is that who that was? I don't remember. That director, whatever his name is. The weird shit that they would get up to, man, it's like you start to see, like, this is a really fucked up thing that's happening here. And a lot of it's built around misconceptions of understanding. So you know how when they say, there are certain people that say there's this Zionist kind of movement that is creating this capitalistic society that's essentially replacing government with this capitalistic, like, these companies, these massive companies are actually the ones that make decisions and run things and pay people off and all that. So there's a Zionist kind of Jewish thing behind it, right? Well, these people, these Jewish people, are like a disconnected kind of people. They're interconnected. Like put Kabbalah in their mind, and everyone's got some different concept of it, right? It's not a unified people in that sense, but each one of them has this belief system that the world is theirs. So that adds on top of all this, and that's this other fucking conspiracy, right? There's like a whole fucking bunch of spheres to this shit. But at the end of the day, my point is, when you have all that going on, you have everyone thinking that they're doing what is right. Because either your religion tells you it's right, because you're God's chosen people, because your country is right, because it's land of the home, or it's the home of the free, land of the brave, whatever the fuck the saying is, and it's freedom and everything that's good in this world, so that's my concept of why it's right. Then you have other people with their cultural shit. You know, you think of like the modern equality, equity shit. You know, this matters because I think it does. You name it, man. And the egregores keep going on. The thought forms, the ideas that I'm doing what's right because I believe this is good. People get caught up in that very heavily. And then a man like Charles Manson rolls along, who just throws a wrench in all of that for his time. So we're talking late 60s going on, and I don't know, I think he died recently, but passed away. But like, he was relevant in the 60s and 70s, you know, that because people would want to go in there and interview him and kind of get off on like pretending like I'm the one looking at him like, and you're the crazy one. You're the crazy one, right? You know how people are. They kind of need that validation because they feel like they're in a crazy world, so they want to go to someone like that to make them feel better, because it's like getting in the sun to absorb its rays to give you that energy, right? Or to give you vitamin, whatever that vitamin is, C. I don't know. That's all it really is. I want to go to something that's my opposite so it can make me feel better about my belief system. That's all people fucking do. So you'll see it if you watch old Charles Manson interviews. You'll see the interviewer like just kind of getting off on it. They need it. They really, really do. And then they'll take pictures with him at the end, smiling and stuff. Like, how fucking weird is that? It's so fucking weird, dude. So yeah, that's kind of like why I've been watching that, because it's just like a really weird snapshot of society, you know? Very fucking strange. I don't understand people, man. They're so fucking weird when you look at it objectively. But I do know you got to be careful when you look at the world that way, because people will put that shit on you if you do. If you're looking at life like that, you become kind of a little bit shinier, and then they got a new thing to cast their shit on. So I myself try to be careful about it. I don't go into a lot of things too much. I'll talk about stuff that's already been said, so I can just at least say, hey, I heard someone else say it. Because, man, people get really fucking weird about their thought forms. And they always have. It's a strange, strange world, man. And we've always been doing this. We've always been doing this. I always go back to the Greeks. I always go back to civilization. I always go back to the ideas of the gods, civilization, cities, grand walls, territory and shit. We've always been doing this, man. We like to create a safety in this harsh, harsh world. it's just, it kind of comes to a head in my generation because I'm looking back at the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. And I'm thinking, man, we've really built up the wall so strong we think that it's real. And that's what's fucking crazy to me, that we believe in concepts that are around us, from our shopping centers to the vehicles we drive in, to the roads that we use, our jobs, our government. It's like, it's thought forms inside of it. We believe it so much we actually truly think that it is something. It is real. The road you drive on is part of the country you're in because the landscape around it. And you're like, God, I love America. Because you see like the mountains or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what people do. We make the land a living being. And in this case, a living being is an idea that is our government. It is our, like, I'm an American from the United States. That kind of fucking shit. It's really strange, isn't it? Dropping someone off, like me and you. We go to another planet that is inhabited by beings that are just as intelligent as us, right? And we're dropped there. What we see when we look around is like, holy fuck, right? We're seeing forests, we're seeing trees of some sort of strange color, I don't know, and water, and we're seeing things of the nature that's on that planet. And we're going like, wow, what a crazy place. What is our mind thinking? Well, it's alien. But if we start living here, it's mine. But when an alien comes up to us and tells us, like, yeah, what you're looking at, that's a country. And it stands for this, and it stands for that, it stands for this. We did not see that when we were looking at the mountains and the trees in this planet. But now we're going to start believing it, so the egregore grows in our minds saying, this Grand Canyon and this fucking whatever else is an American symbol is America. Do you see what I'm saying? It's really fucking weird. It's just a land feature. It's just land. It's not somebody's. I don't know how people don't find that fucking strange. That I could walk up with a certain amount of money and hand it to somebody and say, okay, now this land is mine. As long as I pay taxes on it. That's fucking weird, dude. That is the weirdest shit I've ever heard in my life. That you need to buy land, and after you bought it, you need to pay taxes on that land. Get back to your government. How is that? Like, that's just fucking weird. And that's the kind of point I'm saying. That's just one example of why, what I'm trying to say of, like, people have their little ideas of, like, my country and all my good stuff. And then some guy comes along and just kind of shits on that and says, like, that's all fucking stupid. That's all bullshit, man. And everything you believe is bullshit. Everything that you put in that cute little box of yours, of your fun little land and all that, is all made up. They don't like that. No way. Because it's real, it's tangible. I'm paying taxes on it. I got a deed. It is real. It's like, that's what I mean. It's so fucked up. I could go on and on forever. I could go into modern cultural stuff, you know, with the minority culture. I can go into gun culture. I could go, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all everywhere. It's in everything. My point is, it's all fucking made up. It's not real. It's just as real as we put ourselves into. Like, the ideas that you have inside of yourself and you put around you, that's not real. As much as I want to believe that this trailer I'm sitting in is my home, and that it's sitting on a plot of land that I got to pay rent on, but it's mine. And everything I own in it's mine. Like, as much as I want to believe that, it's bullshit. It just makes me feel better, makes me feel safer. And that's the whole fucking reason why it's so strong, because it gets everybody, you know. I'm not sitting here saying, and I don't believe it, I live on a fucking under a tree, you know. Like, no, I'm also part of it. And that's why I can identify it, because I'm in it, you know. You just got to look around a bit and realize it's all made up. I mean, just look at TV long enough, watch commercials, and see how fucking messed up it really is. How do you do that? Turn off the volume and watch a commercial. It's really fucking weird, man. I'm surprised, like, surprised people that are deaf don't have more insight on that stuff. It's crazy, dude. And that's the whole point I'm trying to say is, like, we make up all this bullshit about what we are, what our country is, what our culture is, what our, I don't know, some other fucking ism that we're a part of. And we just want to believe that shit so much. Because it's got to be true. Everyone else is doing it too. That to me is like fucking crazy. Because that goes from your fucking job all the way up to like the people that reside over the political functions of the world that you live in. You know what I mean? Like it's just fucking nuts, dude. Absolutely nuts. And I'm like, I just sit here with all these thoughts and just think like, man, how fucking, it makes me feel not crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? When I watch what people, from people going around with like a shirt with like Trump on it, and after he got the bullet thing happened, from people walk around like that, chest, they're all proud of it, to the people that walk around with their with the modern racist stuff, you know, my culture, my race is better than yours, to people that walk around with those shirts were, I forgot what they're called, the National Rifle Association. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people have a thought form and they're just like, and this is me. I just think every time I look at that, I'm like, my God, what a fucking place this is. Anything you want can exist as long as you believe it hard enough. And you have enough fervor about it. And people will fight and die over these things. They will. There are literally ideas that people have in this world that they're willing to die for. They think it matters that much. And it's stupid. It's like nobody looks back at World War I and thinks, maybe this is all fucking stupid. It's almost like that gives people more, because there's that military culture. There's that honor, warrior stuff. And then that's why it'll always happen, because they get those guys to do the fucking killing and dying, the ones that enjoy it. And that's like, that's what I mean. There's so many rings to this fucking thing. And as I sit here and dwell on it, I'm like, damn, dude, this is so fucked, you know? And the reason I come across like this, because I'm an isolationist. I try not to jump into ideas. I try to take myself away from them so I can keep this perspective of like looking at it and saying like, wow, holy shit, and giving this external exposition about it. Because I think that we don't have enough of that. There's too many ideas about stupid fucking concepts, and they're everywhere, man. Like, just go on YouTube and just sign out of YouTube and watch the feed that pops up for the person that doesn't have an account. Just do that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This really fucked up cultural shit that's going on, and the belief system people have, and the fucking things that we get up to, and the stuff we watch, and the things we identify with, the things we want to mean something to us. It's very interesting to see just how people will trick themselves into believing that everything they believe is truth. Because it's really easy to say that when there's a bunch of people agreeing with you on what that is. From Jesus Christ being our Lord and Savior, to the Black Lives Matter movement, to the whatever you would call it, like Trump supporters, like that whole concept, to the founding of this country. Like, there's so many different ideas. Like, there's people that jump in that shit and like, this is my foundation. And that's what I find very fascinating that we do as people. We're running around terrified, pretending that we're not, making up things about this world that don't really exist. But the minute we start believing in it, positive or negative, you know, whether you agree or disagree with said concept, you're giving it power. It's like what I always tell people, that Disney bought Star Wars. This is a weird example, but it's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. Disney bought Star Wars, but you fucking hate all the Star Wars that they're putting out. Why do you keep watching it? Because you watching it and disagreeing with it and making little videos about how it sucks, you're literally still helping it. You gotta separate from it fully. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say, is you have to kind of do as a person, is you gotta kind of isolate yourself from all these little concepts, break yourself from them, break from the egregore, get rid of the ideas and get rid of the symbols of it, and no longer will it plague you. And so you can start to see it from a new perspective, and you'll go like, holy fuck, was I under a spell? Because that's how that shit works, man. That's what magic is. And it's always, magic isn't this crazy fucking, like, it's an esoteric, weird thing. I mean, it can be, I'll be honest. But in my sense of how it affects our world, it's not this weird fucking mischiefy thing. Like, magic is merely just the enthralling nature of you constantly seeing some sort of symbol of a organization or a concept, and you see it enough, you start falling into it, and all of a sudden you're part of it, right? I love this team behind me. If I take that flag down, I'm gonna think about them a little bit less. If I don't watch my internet, I'm gonna think about them even less, and all of a sudden they're gone from my mind. It keeps you in. That's why these commercials keep doing the forcing people of color inside everything, from political, like shows that are like, I don't know how to word it. It's supposed to be historical, but they're putting people that wouldn't be there naturally because we're trying to have equality, all the way to just a commercial about some fucking chick smelling her laundry and it smells great, but she's got to be a person of color. It's, you inject the idea into every concept of life, so it becomes a natural thing. We're just like, oh yeah, of course. It's manipulation, you know, and that's the modern one that I can think of, but there's a lot of them all happening at the same time. Because the beauty of that is, when you say shit like that, people find a new thing to call you, a racist, you know? Because that's how we can kind of like, oh, okay, let's put them in that box and then go over here so we can keep having our idea concept to be, right, this one. It's amazing. It really is, like, just where we find ourselves in this world. It's just nuts, man. It's crazy. And we're all part of it. And we're all doing it. And we all love it, man. We all fucking jack off to it and think it's, oh, this is so great. Look at this world is so amazing. Look what we do for ourselves. We're the best there ever was. America, freedom, #1. Forever. Never lost a war. You know, like, well, I mean. So that's all. Just something to chew on, I guess. Something that I was just thinking about. God, if people actually watch this video, because some of my videos will randomly blow up for no reason, and they're always the ones that I don't want to deal with people talking about. We're going to see what happens on this one. I swear to God, dude. I made mention of Black Lives Matter, so it's probably going to be flagged for racist. You know how people are. God forbid. Anyway, we're off. Let's go on another adventure.